It's a Terminator of bad feelings. Today's video is sponsored by HB Tuners. HB Tuners is an incredibly user-friendly data logging software and tuning software I've been using for pretty much a decade. I typically use it for my Ford products, but you can use it for a whole bunch of different platforms. But how do you use HB Tuners? Well, I'm glad you asked. Well, you use the most advanced OBD interface out there, the MPVI3. Simply take my MPVI3, plug it into my laptop, and then I'm good to go. Now use the VCM Suite software to data log and maybe tune things or tweak things as I see fit. And if you have a project car, especially an engine swapped car, it's very important to data log. Oil temps, coolant temps, air fuel ratios, all that good stuff you can do with HB Tuners and the MPVI3. And there's been several occasions where if I didn't data log, things could have gone pretty badly. But thankfully, I was using HB Tuners and all was well. So once again, huge thanks to HB Tuners for sponsoring today's video. Make sure to go to their website and let them know that I sent you. And on that note, thank you guys for listening. Hi everyone, David here, and we are in the blissful, aggressive 03 Terminator Cobra. Before we get started, comment down below what your favorite Mustang of all time is, and you know what? If you don't like Mustangs, you at least like the Terminator. Now, the Terminator Cobra, I owe a lot to. If there was a Mount Rushmore of early 2000s cars that really helped me get started on YouTube, the Terminator Cobra is one of them. Now, even though I've driven so many Terminator Cobras, why am I driving another one? Haven't I said everything that's been said to say about the Terminator Cobra? Yeah, the reason I'm driving this one, that's owned by Andrew of Mustang Lifestyle, this to me is the Terminator Cobra from my childhood. This is probably the most period correct Terminator Cobra that I saw as a dream car. That is because when I was a wee young lad, in the early days of the internet and streaming video, I saw a video called Snake Bite. And what Snake Bite was really showing just how freaking cool the Terminator Cobra was. The sights, the sounds. And I was like, how come all the other Terminator Cobras don't sound like that? Well, it's because of what's under the hood. What made Snakebite so ferocious and aggressive was the legendary Supercharger kit that was on it. Now this is the Kenne Bell Supercharger that was notorious with the 03 Terminator Cobra. It was what made the Terminator the American Supra in a lot of people's eyes. By upgrading the Supercharger from the Eaton Supercharger, that was the factory one, you could throw more boost at it. And since the Terminator Cobra came with forged internals, it could handle it, at least for a while. Kenne Bell's big rival back in the day with the Terminator Cobra was a brand that you might be familiar with, Whipple. And in the glory days of the forums of arguing about cars, there was always the debate on the SVT forum of what is better, the Kenne Bell or the Whipple. The Whipple still made a ton of power and actually drove a 900 horsepower one a couple years ago. But the Kenne Bell was the one that screamed more. Even that, just rolling through the gears. Not to mention, when the Terminator is lowered, it is one of the meanest looking cars ever to come out of America. When you pop the hood of this car, all you see is the massive, polished Kenne Bell Supercharger. And that's another thing. Polished stuff is so period correct for the early 2000s. And not just in American cars, right? It's not just the jean shorts wearing, or you know, the technical term, jorts wearing New Balance, having Cars and Coffee guy in his fold-out chair. The Supras, the Skylines, a bunch of different car platforms. It was the thing to do to make your engine look prettier, was to have polished parts on it. And the Kenne Bell blower was like a huge flex when it was polished. Oh my unlike any other Terminator I've driven. Now, by the way, this is making 750 wheel horsepower in a convertible. It's slightly wet outside. But the only downside is once you do a pull with the Kenne Bell, it does heat soak pretty good. You do lose quite a bit of power. So my windshield wipers don't work, so that's fun. But quick crash course if you don't know what the Terminator Cobra is and why it's special. It is a 4-valve per cylinder supercharged V8 compared to the 2-valve per cylinder V8 engine that was in the normal Mustang GT. It didn't just make this generation Mustang a little bit better, it completely transformed it. Well as the subtle aesthetic upgrades like the duckbill in the back, the more aggressive front bumper, the better grille that ditches the honeycombs. That's it. It also had independent rear suspension, which was very uncommon for Mustangs. That actually didn't come back until the Mustang S550 in 2015. Because some people just like the solid axle and how simple it is and how it just would go dead straight for drag racing and whatnot. I have to tell you, the Terminator Cobra has aged extraordinarily well aesthetically on the outside, in my opinion. On the inside, no. On the inside, it's an early 2000s Ford interior with a bunch of parts bins parts and a bunch of hard plastics. During this era, pretty much every American car company did this at the time, so it's not that big of a deal. But the Terminator Cobra was such a special car that a lot of people that I know in the Mustang community would buy a more modern Mustang or more modern car, have it for a while, and then sell it, and then go back to a Terminator. And that is why the value of the Terminator has stayed basically the same forever. There is something special about these cars. It is arguably the best sounding Mustang of all time. It's the complete package of a raw, visceral experience. And it makes some of the best downshift sounds you could ever imagine when you rev match this thing. Woo! Insane. Insane! Terminating your eardrums! These cars are amazing. I don't really know if there's an easy way to say this, but the Terminator it's a man's car. You have this intense shifter, real heavy clutch. This is the first ever Hellcat, in my opinion. It's the one that started it all. And it's just much harder to drive than a Hellcat because of the technology and the decisions that Ford made at the time that just needed to play out. And this car, in my opinion, still deserves the reputation that it has. It's a Terminator of bad feelings. It literally terminates any bad feelings you're having that day when you drive these things. And people have always asked me, David, why haven't you bought a Terminator if it's one of your favorite cars ever? And honestly, the main reason is the pricing. These have still held their value incredibly well. So it's to that point of like, can I justify it with the interior and everything? But this is all drivetrain, baby. They spent all the money on the engine and the transmission. It has a Tremec transmission in it, and it still holds up incredibly well. In my opinion, it's the best Mustang they ever made in the early 2000s. You could debate Celine S281 or the Cobra R. That car is incredible as well. We rarely ever see them though, right? So when I think of a mass-produced Mustang of the early 2000s, this is the one. It's the one. It makes you smile. The sounds it makes. The platform is incredible to modify. It looks aggressive. It looks the part. It means business. And it not just looks like it means business, it sounds like it means business. So huge thanks to Andrew from Mustang Lifestyle for letting me rip on his Terminator. Wow, this was an incredible experience. It actually went beyond my expectation because the car is still extremely fast. right? It's still extremely fast. I mean, obviously it's 750 wheel horsepower, but still.